In Shul, we have Saba, we have Ruvain Shanet, we have Berish Gesman, and Gedalia Engel. We have David Helfgott on Kol HaLashon. We are dedicated by A.B. Spry for the protection of our soldiers and their success. We got word just before Mariv that there is an intense battle now. They located in an area where they have some hostages, and to try to get them out and not have them killed is a very, very, of course, dangerous operation. So we learned for them especially, and the safety of the hostages. And Izzer ben Yuta, Shimon Kleinli, Nishmas Asher Anshel ben Yehuda, and Gittel Bas Shimon Pinchas, Irving Fishbaum, for his chus, Izzer ben Rezel. We got word that Reb Ruvain is in the hospital. He might have an infection, and they're not sure. And that's Rav Shalom Ruvain ben Shima, from Aishver Vigdaya ben Rivka Meir ben Chayesara, that they should have a refuah shalema b'sek sh'archei Yisrael. We are holding on Daf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph on the top of the Amud, and by the new Mishnah. Shor shel pikeach shenogach shor shel cheresh shoyt v'cotton. A shor that belongs to a pikeach. That's, let's see, who do we have over here? That's a pikeach. Nachman. A shor that belongs to Nachman that gores a shor or of a deaf mute, an imbecile, or a minor. Of course, Nachman is chayiv to pay. Just because these people are not competent doesn't mean that you're allowed to damage them. So Nachman is chayiv to pay. However, the shor of a deaf mute, an imbecile, or a minor, shenogach shor shel pikeach, that gores a shor of a pikeach, is pater, because they are pater b'mitzvahs, and therefore they're not chayiv to pay. However, shor shel cheresh shoyta v'cotton shenogach, if a shor of a deaf mute, an imbecile, or a minor gores, so now we can't have public menace on the loose. So what we do is, Bezdin mamidin lahem apotropos, Bezdin appoints a guardian to guard them, umeidin lahem bifnei apotropos, and then if it gores, we could give testimony in the presence of the of apotropos. Now we'll see, what does that mean? Does that mean that afterwards, if it gores again, it's going to be chayiv v'chatzi nezek? And if it is chayiv v'chatzi nezek, does it come from the property of the cheresh shoyt v'cotton, or does it come from the property of the guardian? And when it says a mu'id, or is it that a tam would not be chayiv? It's just that if it gores 3 times, then it would be a mu'id, and then we would collect from the property aliyah of the Yisayimim, or maybe it's the aliyah of the guardian. The Gemara is going to talk about this. Nispakei chacheresh, if the deaf mute gets healed, nishtapa hashoyta, the imbecile becomes sane, the higdal hakotten, and the child becomes an adult, now chazel l'tamusa, it reverts back to its tam stage, it's a new start. Divrei Meir. Rabbi Yossi says, no, if it was already gored 3 times, harihu b'ches kasa. Shoro et stadin, a shor that was trained to gore in the matador's arena, a bullfighting shor. Einoi chayiv misa. It's not put to death if it gores someone and kills them. Shenemar ki yigach, if it gores, v'lo she'agichu, not if you caused it, if you trained it to do so. If you trained it to do so, it is not put to death. As we welcome in Ilya Shutman joining us, and Itchy is joining us as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'hakol niyeh b'dvaro. Now, if you're going to follow the Mishnah carefully, there seems to be an internal contradiction in the Mishnah. Haguf kasha. Amrit shoshel kereshayt v'katan shenagach shoshel b'keach pater. That a shar of a deaf mute, an imbecile, a minor, that goes a shar of a b'keach is pater. Alma, that implies that ein ma'amidin apotropos l'tam. You don't assign an apotropos, a guardian, for a tam ligvois megufay. Now, the idea that you don't do that is because either, as Rashi says in one shot, because you don't collect from Yisayimim min ha-metaltalin. And since the payment would only be from the guf of the shah, that's metaltalin, and you never collect from Yisayimim metaltalin. Or, the reason why you don't collect from Yisayimim metam is because if you hold pal ganiska knasa, that half damages as a knas, we don't collect a knas from Yisayimim. We don't penalize Yisayimim. But aim a sefer, then look at the sefer. It says shor shel chereshayt v'katan shenagach bezdin mamidan lehem apotropos. The bezdin appoints for them an apotropos umeidan b'fneihem, and you could testify before them. Umeidan lehem b'fnei apotropos. Alma mamidan lehem apotropos. We appoint a guardian l'tam for a tam ligvois megufay. Says the Gemara, no. Amar Rava hachi ketani. If we see that they're shore gores, we don't make an apotropos in order to collect chatzi nezik of a tam. Because as we said, chatzi nezik is from guf of the shah, which is metaltalin, which we don't collect from Yisayimim. Rather, what it means is, we appoint a guardian, and then we testify before the apotropos 3 times in order to make the shah muad, that then when it goes after being a muad, the chiyada v'nagach l'shalim ma'aliyah. It pays from the best, from the real estate. In real estate, we collect. Now, it's not so simple, like I said. Who are we collecting from? Are we collecting from the property of the incompetent, the minor, the deaf mute, or are we collecting from the property of the guardian? So that's what the Gemara says now. Me'aliyas man. From whose property do we collect? Rabbi Yochanan me'aliyas Yisayimim. From the aliyah of the Yisayimim. Either the cotton, or the incompetent, or the deaf mute. Rabbi Yisrael Chanina me'aliyas apotropos. No, we collect from the aliyah of the apotropos. Says the Gemara. Does Rabbi Yochanan hold that we collect from the Yisayimim? Or mi amar Rabbi Yochanan hachi? V'am Rabbi Yehuda amar Vasi ein niskakin l'nichse Yisayimim. We don't take anything away from orphans, and that means even if it's a debt that was accrued by their father, we don't take away from Yisayimim until they grow up. Unless if we wait, then interest will accrue and will eat up their property. Rabbi Yochanan adds one other case, that we handle right away a shtar that has an interest, because if we would keep on taking interest away from the Yisayimim, it's going to eat up their principal. Or we do attend in the case of the ksuva of a wife, because if the ksuva is not paid, then they're going to have to keep on paying mezainis. They're going to have to keep on giving support to the wife, and then again that will eat them up out of house and home. Elim ke ribes oichelas ben. Rabbi Yochanan amar l'shtashi yesh beribes oil ksuvas isha mivisham mezayne. But otherwise, we don't take here. Rabbi Yochanan says that if the shar of the Yisayimim is a mu'id, we take from their aliyah for payment of the shar. So the Gemara says, you're right. Eipach, switch it around. Rabbi Yochanan amar me'aliyas apotropsin. We don't take it from the Yisayimim, we take it from the guardian. Rabbi Chanina amar me'aliyas Yisayimim. We take it from the orphans. Amar Rava. So Rava says, Mishum dekasha de Rabbi Yochanan, mashvelei Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina, that it's Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina is the one that says that we take it from the Yisayimim. Toya, for Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina, Dainahu, he's a great judge, v'nochis l'umke dedina, and therefore it's not likely that he would say that we take it from the Yisayimim. Elolaylam loy teipach. Don't switch it around. Rabbi Yochanan is the one that says that we take it from the Yisayim. Bah, he said only 2 cases, only from the ribis and ksuvas isha. Umazik shani. A mazik is different. When he said there's only 2 cases, that means that normal situations of loans. But if he's a mazik, then we do collect from the Yisayim. That's in a different category. Now the Gemara says, what's this machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yosi? Rabbi Yochanan amar me'aliyas Yisayimim, because he says we can't collect it from the apotropos, because if we're going to make the apotropos be on the hook, then nobody will take the job. The iyamrit me'aliyas apotropos, if we collect from the apotropos, nimnei v'lo yavdei, nobody will take the job. Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina amar me'aliyas apotropos. No, we collect it from the apotropos until the Yisayimim grow up. And then the Chayzim and Nifram and Am Yisayimim, then when the Yisayimim grow up, we take it from them, L'chi Godlei. And then we replenish the apotropos. In this way, since he knows that he's going to get recompense, he would still take the job. Now this question, note that we had a shaila if we set up a apotropos to collect from a tam of a yasim. That means that if we see that the shar gores, we make a guardian, and then even if it gores as a tam, we do collect from the guf of the shar. So that's a machloikis, as the Gemara tells us 3 lines from the top of Daf Lamed Tesam Beis, learning on Chanukah evening, the 5th night of Chanukah, like I mentioned, between Mincha and Marv, that's the night of Chanukah Gelt, because Chanukah, the 5th day of Chanukah never falls out on Shabbos. Never happens, because in the 19-year calendar that we have, the fixed 19-year calendar of Yehuda Hanasi, the 5th night of Chanukah is never Friday night. And therefore it became the day, as you'll see, Marshall has something for everyone this evening. That's why he wasn't here the last 2 nights. He's been squirreling away stuff for everybody. You just give Marshall your PayPal account, and he has Chanukah geld for you.
I came to collect the Hanukkah bourbon. I've been gypped.
This is the case where a pikach was not off the shore of a katan or a area.
No, the other way around.
Well, I thought they're...
No, pikach that's nagach shar, that's what we're saying. They're potter initially, but after, if we see that they're goring, then we set up a guardian that it shouldn't happen again. We can't have a public nuisance running around all over the place. Now, but this question of whether we make them pay also the chatzi nezik of tam, or only the nezik shalom of a mu'id, this is a machloikis. Let's see it inside. Umamidin lo'en apetropin, whether we set up a guardian letam when it's a tam, ligvois megufay, to collect from the body of the shar of the cheresh shait of a cotton, that's tanoi. That's a machlokes tanoi. The Tanya, shar shenischarshu balav, a shar whose owner was a cheresh. Now, even though it says shenischarshu, I think that this means that they were from birth that way, because if the only time a deaf mute is an incompetent is because they were incompetent from birth, and therefore there was never a time before Helen Keller. There was no way to communicate with a deaf mute. They didn't have a way, so they didn't have intelligence because you couldn't teach them anything. So a shar whose owner was a deaf mute, or nishtatu balov, or its owner was an imbecile, v'shalchu balov l'medinas hayam, or the owner went overseas. Yehuda ben Akusa Amar Sumchus, Yehuda ben Akusa Amar Sumchus, Hariyu b'tamusai, it's a tam, ad sheyoidu b'vay b'fnei bailam. It's b'tamusai until you do it 3 times in the presence of the owners. In other words, you can't make the shar a mu'id until the owner comes back, or the cheresh gets better, or the shaita gets better. Rabbi Yaisi says, excuse me, thank you. The Chacham says, Ma'amad lahem apotropos, we appoint an apotropos, or me'idin b'hem b'fnei apotropos, and we give the warning and testify in front of the guardian. Nispakei chacheresh, if it becomes a mu'id, and then the cheresh gets better, or nishtapa shaita, or the imbecile becomes sane, v'higdal hakotten, or ubo balav medinas hayam, Yehuda ben Akusa Masumchas chazal etamusa. It reverts to being a tam, until you do it 3 times in front of the owner. Rabbi Yaisi Aimer, no, if it was already a mu'id, it doesn't revert back to a tam just because they got better or just because the owner got back. It remains in its presumptive status as a mu'id. Now, Omrei, my harihu b'tamusai dekama sumchas. What does it mean that if the owner is a cheresh or a shait or the owner is away, it's bitamusai? What does that mean? If it means that it could never become a mu'id, that as long as the owner is not sane or the owner is not around, it could never be a mu'id because it says v'hu'id b'va'alav. But Sumchis says in the Sefer, it reverts back to its tamas if the owner comes back. Says the Gemara, Hamaniktani Sefer Chazal Tamusai, that if the owner comes back, or the shaita becomes sane, or the cheresh becomes normal, he goes back to a tam, Michlal Di'iyayid, and even according to Sumchis, it become a mu'id. Elamai Harihu B'tamusai. What does it mean that it's B'tamusai? It means that there's no payment at all the first 3 times that it goes. Harihu b'tmimusai, d'loi mechasrinolai, because we don't pay half damages. So that means that it's Sumchis' position. We don't appoint a guardian to collect from the body of the shar chatzi nezek. We appoint an apotropos, meaning that even the first time it goes, we'll collect the chatzi nezek. Alma mamidan apotropos l'tam ligvais megufa. Says the Gemara, and in the Sefer, what do they argue about? In other words, Sumchis says that when the owner comes back or the shaita gets better, it reverts back to a tam, while the Chacham say it remains a mu'id. Sefer b'maika mifligi. What are they arguing about in the Sefer? Rishus mishani kibeinahu. If it moves into another rishus, whether that changes its status, because beforehand it was under the responsibility of the guardian, and now it's under the responsibility of the owner. So Sumcha Sava Rishus Mishana, and therefore it reverts back to a tam. Rabbi Yossi Sava Rishus Eina Mishana. Now, again, I want to thank you all for making dancing around Hanukkah parties. Right now I have upstairs over 20 grandchildren upstairs. Our Hanukkah party started at 6:15, and I was able to be freilich with them until Mariv, and that's the way to try to do it. The way to try to do it is to spend time by the neighbors and not to miss the zman of the neighbors, and also not to miss your kviyas of learning, and to be freilich in the middle. Sometimes it's not easy. There are babies. It's not easy, but a man like Mark will never miss a shir for a party, for a sufganiyot. It's not happening. And Marshall, forget about it. For a puck, chocolate, or any other, would never miss a shir. And if you think he would, you are guilty of being mekabel lashon hara. Don't let anybody say that Marshall Castle from Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss's shir is going to miss a shir for hockey. Now, it's blatant lashon hara. Now, says the Gemara, right, Marshall? Now,
whatever the Rav says.
Yeah, right. No, because you're a born again daffer.
That's one of the better things I've been called lately.
I have to tell you something. It's a little bit self-aggrandizing, but I could do it because it's my child. But my son Yaakov is making this Sunday night a siyum on Shas. This Sunday night is my first Rebbitzon's fifth. It's my first Rebbitzon's fifth yahrzeit, and he's making in her memory a siyum Shas. And he told me, Tati, I'm making a big shindik because I want the people for my daf to know that they have to try to learn every daf. If they have to miss, these are younger people with active families. If they have to miss, they have to write down, make a mark on the daf, and try to catch up. He says, I worked hard that I should learn every blot in Shas. And I want to make an impression on people that that's what they should do. If you have to go away for a weekend, if you have a wedding, you need to make up the daf. I write down the daf. I remember my Yaakov, when he sat Shiva for his mother, I remember how hard he worked to make up those 7 blot. I remember how hard it wasn't easy. He worked very hard to do it, but it's a tremendous lesson. It's a lesson for all of us that, we want to be able to finish Shas. And I have somebody, Ruvain Irving knows him well. He was in learning with me 6 cycles. His name is Lenny Lowenthal. So whenever he missed a blot, he made a mark in his Gemara. And this way, he learned quite a few cycles. So he knew that he finished all of Shas because he had marks when he missed, when he didn't. And that's a good thing to do. Because, of course, we're all in it not for just one cycle. We want to live a very long time and learn together many cycles. So if you're going to have to miss now, so you'll make a mark, and you'll know next cycle, I can't miss this blot. Forget about it. I can't, okay, anyway.
There'll be a lot of marks in Yavamas.
Yeah, Yavamas. Now, we're learning Yavamas now in the Mishnah Yomis. That's hard enough. Okay, And Richard Rosenzweig is on. We're welcoming Jay Siegel. Richard Rosenzweig is on Facebook. For some reason, he's not coming on. Maybe he has some sufganiyot stains on his keyboard. He's having problems. Now, Tan Rabbana. Shor cheres shaita v'katan shenagach. A shor cheres shaita v'katan that gores. Rab Yaakov mishalem chatzi nezek. Rab Yaakov holds that he pays a chatzi nezek. So, first of all, it doesn't say Rab Yaakov Omar. It says Rab Yaakov mishalem chatzi nezek. That's not an accurate language. That's like saying shor cheres shaita v'katan shenagach marshal chayev chatzi nezek. So the Gemara says, what did Marshall do? And the Gemara says, what did Rabbi Yaakov do? Rabbi Yaakov ma'avidite. What do you mean Rabbi Yaakov mishalem chatzi nezek? The shorchai shoyt with cotton gores and Rabbi Yaakov pays the chatzi nezek. So the Gemara says, okay, don't get so excited. Rabbi Yaakov omer mishalem chatzi nezek. Rabbi Yaakov says that they pay a chatzi nezek. So now the Gemara has a problem with this. But my askinan, what is he telling us? Ibetom, if he's telling us that Mamidin Apotropos Latam, and that he pays a Chatzi Nezek, so then why does it say Mishalim Chatzi Nezek? It should say Rabbi Yaakov Mechayev. Ibetom Pshita, the Kuli Almanami Chatzi Nezek Uda Mishalim. We know that a Tam pays a Chatzi Nezek. It should just say Rabbi Yaakov says you're Chayev. Now, but Iba Mu'id, and if it's talking about a Mu'id, then Ida of the Lei Shmira, if the Shar Chereshait V'Katna or the Apotropos guarded it, so then it shouldn't pay anything. Klal Loy B'El Shlume. In other words, if he guarded it and it damaged anyway, it's an inus, he doesn't pay at all. It shouldn't be a chatzi nezek, it should be a nezek shalom. Kulei nezek boy shlume. So now the Gemara unravels this in an interesting way. Amar Rava la'olam b'muad. This is talking about where the shor of the chereshait v'katan, and Marshall was the guardian, you know. La'olam b'muad. V'acha b'mayaskinan de ovdei shmira pchusa, where Marshall did a minimal shmira. It wasn't a shmira ma'ula behind a locked door. It was a shmira pchusa. He put a rope there, and it was a minimal shmira. But v'loy avdalei shmira ma'ula, he didn't do a good shmira. Now the din is that for a mu'id, a shmira pchusa is enough. But for a tam, you need to have a shmira mula. We learned that out from Psukim. We're going to learn that later on from Psukim. Reb Yaakov Savala Reb Yehuda, the Amar Tzad Tamas b'mekayma imedes. He holds that by a muad, the Tzad Tamas remains in its place. So for the Tamas, you need to make a shmira mula, and since he didn't, he's chayiv v'chatzi nezek. The muad, it's enough with a shmir pchusa. V'savala kreb Yehuda the amad muad sagila b'shmir pchusa. It's enough for a muad to make a minimal shmira. But for the tam part, you need to make a shmira mu'ula, and he didn't do that. Now, but does a chereshait b'katan pay the chatzi nezek for the tzad tamas? V'savala, and he holds k'rabanan the Imrei Mamina Apotropos L'tam Ligvais Migufay. So here we have, let's review over here. This is what Rabbi Yaakov means that you pay a Chatzi Nezek. And he means that it's talking about where you have a shor of a Chereshait V'Katan. The marshal is the Apotropos. And it gored 3 times, so it's warned. And now it's a mu'id. Marshal makes a shmira pchusa. The shmira pchusa is sufficient for the mu'id part. But we hold that when it's a mu'id, it's tamas, it's tzad tam, in other words, the first half, remains with the halach of a tam, which means that it needs to have a shmira ma'ula, and he didn't make a shmira ma'ula. So he's potter for the tzad mu'id for the second half because he made a shmira p'kusa, but he's chayiv for the first half. And we hold like the Rabbanan that say that we don't say that the Yisayimim, we can't collect from the Taltalim, from the Yisayimim, or we don't count in the Yisayimim, that we do collect the Chatzi Nezek. Amalei Abaya, says Abaya, so you're telling me that they're not arguing? You're telling me you're telling me that Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda don't argue? V'tanya, we learned in the Brayso, Shor shel cheresh shoyta v'katan shenogach, Rabbi Yehuda mechayev, Rabbi Yaakov amachatzi nezek huda mishalim. So you see that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov disagree. Says the Gemara, no. Rabbi Yaakov is explaining what Rabbi Yehuda holds. Excuse me. Rabbi Yaakov explaining that when Rabbi Yehuda says chayiv, it means a chatzi nezek. Amar Rabba Bar Ula, Mashe mechayiv Rabbi Yehuda, Pirish Rabbi Yaakov, that he says, if a mu'id, you made a shmira p'chusa, then it's chayiv, but it's only chayiv a chatzi nezek. Says the Gemara, Ula Abaya da Amar Pligi, according to Abaya that says Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda are arguing, b'mai Pligi, according to Abaya, what are they arguing about? So here the Gemara, Abaya spins a whole new scenario. Amalach, Abaya tells us, Hacha b'mai askinan, here we're talking about b'mu'ed delay natrinan klal. It's Marshall we're talking about over here. We're talking about that the shor of the cheresh shoyta v'katan is a mu'id, and Marshall didn't guard it at all. Reb Yaakov savala ki Reb Yehuda b'chada, or poligalei b'chada. Reb Yaakov, who says that it's a chatzi nezek, he holds like Reb Yehuda in one area, he argues like on Reb Yehuda in another area. Savar ki Reb Yehuda b'chada, the ilu Reb Yehuda savar tzad tamas b'mekayim oimedes. The tzad tamas remains in its place. However, opolagalei b'chada. The ilu Rabbi Yehuda savar mamidan la'an apotropos l'tam liglois megufay. He says that the chatzi nezek of a cheresh shoyta v'katan of a tam we collect, and therefore in this case where the mu'id did damage and Marshall didn't guard it at all, so the second chatzi nezek of the mu'id, of course we pay, but the first chatzi nezek, which it still remains as the din of a tam, he holds that Reb Yaakov, who says it's a chatzi nezek, holds that we don't collect the chatzi nezek of the tam from Yisayimim, because we don't collect, because we don't collect metaltalin from Yisayimim, or we don't give kanas to Yisayimim. But Rabbi Yehuda that says chayiv mean chayiv everything. The ilu Rabbi Yehuda savim hamid lem apotropos l'tam ligvois megufay, and therefore we collect the second chatzi nezek of the mu'id because Marshall didn't guard it at all, and we collect the first chatzi nezek even though it still has a din of a tam, but he holds that we collect from Yisayimim even when it's a tam. Rabbi Yaakov says, we don't appoint an apotropos to collect the tzad tamas, and since by a mu'id the tzad tamas b'mekayim ha'medes, we don't collect the first half, and therefore we only collect the second half of the mu'id. V'loi mishalem ela palga de mu'id. All right, before we learn the last piece, you want to ask something?
Why by a mu'id is a...
That we learn out from Psukim. Now we learn out from Sukkim. We're going to learn that later. But that's the halacha. The halacha is that by a mu'id, a shmira prusa is enough, but by a tam you need a shmira mula. Now Berish is right. It's counterintuitive because we would think the mu'id is more dangerous. You're more warned, and therefore you should certainly have to make a shmira mula. But we're going to learn it out from Sukkim.
And the phrase, the tam omedes, the tam, what does that mean exactly?
That means that although you're paying a nezik shalom, but when we say that it has the dinim of a mu'id, which you would, let's say, have to pay me aliyah, that's only for the second half. But the first half remains with the halachas of tam, even when it's a mu'id. Now, the next Gemara is a little intricate, so put on your thinking caps.
Where are we?
Where are we? We are in the Gullus, in the diaspora. We are learning Talmud Bavli, Mesechtes Bava Kama, and we are holding by Amalei Rav Acha Bar Abaya 3 lines from the bottom of Lamed Tesamid Beis in the middle. Now,
Thank you.
Marshall, don't be embarrassed. Turn the Gemara around. Now, Marshall, did I ever tell you how much I enjoy having you here?
I always thought you told the truth, so no.
Yeah, I really do.
There's a reason why he has.
Now,
Keep going, Mel. I didn't hear it.
now, we together with Marshall, we have 26 people, Communion Yud Kei Vav Kei. So when Marshall is here, the Shechina is Shruya B'Seichenu. Now, it would be very tempting for me to stop here and save this for tomorrow night. But if I save this for tomorrow night, you'll regret it tomorrow night. So let's do it now. And I see that Mark agrees with me. Now, Amalei Rav Acha Bar Abaya l'Ravina. Bishloima l'Abaya. It's good according to Abaya, the Amapligi Shaper, that he is explaining that Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda are arguing, and they're arguing about the Tzad Tamas. That's why you have to learn that when Rabbi Yaakov says a Chatzi Nezek, he's talking about a Mu'id. El Rava da Amar Loi Pligi, and all Rabbi Yaakov is doing is explaining what Rabbi Yehuda meant when he said Chayiv. Ademuke lo b'mu'id, when Rabbi Yaakov initially said that it's Chayiv v'chatzi nezek, why do you say it's talking about a mu'id? Nukma b'tam. Say it's talking about a tam. And il Rabbi Yehuda, if it's going according to Rabbi Yehuda, the avid le shmira pchusa, v'lo avid le shmira mu'ula. If it's going according to Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that a tam needs to have a shmira mu'ula. So the reason why you pay a chatzi nezek is because the avid le shmira pchusa, he made a shmira pchusa, v'lo avid le shmira mu'ula. And il Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, and if it's going according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, the lo avid le shmira kalal. Then it's the reason why he pays a chatzi nezek. Even though Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that a tam is enough, a shmira pchusa, it's talking about where there was no shmira made at all. The Tanya, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer, echad tam ve'echad mu'id sheshamran shmira pchusa p'turin. Now, and the chiddush of Rabbi Yaakov is that you're chayav v'chatzi. I have a friend in Chanukah. The chiddush of Rabbi Yaakov is that you're chayav v'chatzi nezek, and we don't say that we don't collect from the Yisayimim money because we don't collect metaltalin from Yisayimim. This is collected from the body of the shar, or we don't give a knas of a chatzi nezek. V'hakamash malon Reb Yaakov the mamidim le'mapitrop and letam live grois megufay. Now, the truth of the matter is is that we would think that the answer should be, we already said if it was talking about a tam, it shouldn't say chatzi nezek, it should just say chayiv. Because we know that a tam pays a chatzi nezek. That's how we started out the whole question. We started out by saying that it can't be talking about a tam, because if it's talking about a tam, then why does it say chatzi nezek? Everybody knows that tam is a chatzi nezek. It should say chayiv. So Taisus says that at this point the Gemara says that if it would say chayiv, we might think it's talking about a mu'id and not a tam. And that's why it says a chatzi nezek. Amalei, so he says, the reason why we want to learn that it's talking about a mu'id is because we want to learn out over here two lessons. Amalei hachi kama. Choda de ispe taite taima. It wants to tell us one lesson that teaches us two things. That if there's a mu'id that's owned by a cheresh, a shaiter, or a cotton, it only pays a chatzi nezek. Why? So there's two reasons there. There's two ideas that we say that it's talking about where a shmira pchusa was made, and therefore the shmira pchusa is good for the mu'id part, and therefore you don't pay for the mu'id part, but you pay a chatzi nezek for the tam part, because we say that the tam part needs a shmira ma'ula, and we say that the tzad tamas b'mekayma imedes, and we say that we could collect the tzad tamas even from a yasam. Ravina says that we wanted to know, this is answering, Ravina here answers another thing, and that is we wanted to know what Reb Yaakov and Reb Yehuda argue about. Reb Yehuda says chayiv, and Reb Yaakov says a chatzi nezek. So what's the machloikis between Reb Yehuda and Reb Yaakov? So Ravina Amar Rishus Mishane Ikebenayu. The difference between Reb Yaakov and Reb Yehuda is talking about where the animal was a mu'id, and then the owner became intelligent, or it became sane, or came back from overseas. And going to having mu'id v'nispake chacherish, the mute became healthy, v'nishpata shaita, and the imbecile became sane, v'higdal hakotten, the minor grew up. So Rabbi Yehuda says, look, the fact that they got better, that doesn't change the fact that this ox scored 3 times. And therefore, it is still going to be chayiv and nezek shalom. Rabbi Yehuda savar chayiv nezek shalom because hariu b'cheskasei. Rabbi Yaakov savar no reshus mishane. The fact that it takes on new ownership, we revert back to its tamas, and therefore it pays only a chatzi nezek. Rabbi said, I did the Mishnah Yomis already because, as I said, I'm in the middle of an active family party. Tomorrow night again, Daf will be at 8 o'clock. I also want to tell you, first of all, I do not have a sponsor for this week's Mikate Share, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Please text or email me to sponsor the Mikate Share. Also, I put on YouTube, first I put on a amazing Chanukah shir that I gave in Rabbi Pollack's shul in Staten Island in 2015. It's really a nice shir. And also I put on YouTube the first Q&A that I did in Irgun Shirei Torah. I believe it's in year 2013. Those two are new shiurim on YouTube. If you go there, remember to subscribe. By the way, There are many Q&As now on YouTube, which is a delightful thing to listen to with your wives. It's very, very interesting and entertaining. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a Freilich and Hanukkah.